everyone, welcome to another episode of Cinetober! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and we are gonna finish our first series. Now, if you all have been staying in contact, or not in contact, but if you've been keeping up with my videos, you know that I am starting with the Wrong Turn series. And now we get to Wrong Turn 5, which a lot of people hate on, and I can understand why, because this one is, the gore is awful. Like, you can tell like when the gore looks fake. A lot of the makeup in this one looks fake. The only good person in makeup is Three Finger. Three Finger is the only one that they keep looking good, but they screw up Sawtooth and One Eye. So with this one, there's this Mountain Man Festival in a town in West Virginia. It's where they celebrate, or they have some kind of festival dedicated to the coal miners or mountain men, and everyone dresses up like a cannibal. So then we have this reporter who, she's not important to the film, but before this even starts, there's another way that this film starts, with a sex scene. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know that there's going to be a sex scene in almost every single horror movie. A lot of horror movies have sex scenes, but this, I mean, my gosh, the only Wrong Turn movie that didn't have sex in it was the first one. Now, you could count that the second one didn't really have sex in it, but they hinted that they did. Okay. But so anyway, I'm guessing this is how production's going. Alright, so we got Wrong Turn 5 coming out. Alright, let's see. We got the characters, we got the story, we got the makeup. What else? I feel like this is missing something. A sex scene at the beginning? Man, that's perfect. I'll call you later. You're a champ. Thanks, man. Yeah. You remember how I told you that I thought the movie was missing something? I got it. Put in a sex scene at the beginning of the movie. Great. Ciao, baby. Yeah, okay. So the movie starts out with this girl, Cruz and Billy, having sex in a tent. And then her friends, and this is where we meet the characters. We meet... Dang it. Stupid characters. Okay, we meet another couple in the film, Lita and Gus, Billy, and Julian, and we meet all them. They're all dressed up like cannibals. And, you know, they're all freaking her out, and, like, you know, Billy punches Gus in the jaw. And there's honestly times in this film where I think he's Ben Affleck. So for the rest of the review, I'm just going to call him not Ben Affleck. So they're talking about, like, what the festival is, and they freak Cruz out, and they're like, come on, let's do this. She's like, no, and he's like, baby, come on, please. Just one night, and we'll go. And she's like, okay, fine. So then, we get a showing of the town, and we have this interviewer who's talking about it, and how she's pretty much you don't really care at all. Because as soon as she's done with the reporting, she goes on a run in a somewhat April O'Neil jumpsuit, and she runs into the three cannibals. Now, I will give this film credit for the idea of them doing this in a town where they're doing this festival, and everyone looks like a cannibal. So, of course, no one's going to suspect the cannibals. They can just walk and blend right in. And that's one of the ingenious things about this film. Even though this is the worst one in the series, this is actually, that is a pretty good, it's an okay thing. It's smart. So she's like, get away from me. You know, I'm sick of all you people in this stupid festival. And all of a sudden, she gives Three Finger the middle finger, and Three Finger cuts off her finger, and then she runs into a certain character who's saying, like, come here, I'll take care of you. And then he's like, oh, I forgot one thing. Then he kills her, and turns out it's Maynard. And Maynard is played brilliantly, actually, by Doug Bradley. He is just evil in this movie. He's evil. If I could compare him to Arlie Erming, no, Arlie Erming kicks him in the nutsack, but this is a pretty good performance. He plays Maynard differently, because all we've seen really of Maynard, in the first one, he's just drinking a thing of Pepto-Bismol. Second one, Pepto-Bismol. He's not in the third one. Now, I know this one does mess with the timeline a little bit. A lot of people are like, well, okay, can you please explain how Maynard is their father if they killed their parents in the fourth one? Okay, now with that, I have watched some reviews and they said that Maynard is apparently their father. This makes no sense. Actually, that is not true. Maynard isn't their father. He says, I have been doing this for 30 years. It's not like you all are living in an asylum anymore, which was a good homage to the fourth film. He said, I found you, I took you in, and you do what I say. He's not their father. He has just found them, and I guess helped, and they've learned from him and and he's taken care of them, I guess. So he's not their father, but he's their caretaker, I guess you could say. So there's all that mess. So then, like, you know, we get some, the kids are driving through to go to the festival, and they come across someone who's laying on the ground, and it's Maynard. Billy, when they get arrested, Billy goes to check on him, and Maynard freaking cuts his arm, and they start kicking on him and beating on him, and the rest of the cannibals are getting ready to attack, but then they see the police. So they stay and hide, and then Sheriff Angela arrests them, and then when she leaves, her assistant Mike, who is cleaning everything up, gets attacked by the cannibals, and this is when the gore is bad. Like, this is really bad. They cut off his ear, then they cut off another ear, and then they stab him in the head, and the blood running down just looks fake. It just looks, it's horrible. It's horrible gore. So that's another thing of why this is so bad. And like I said, the makeup on One Eye and Sawtooth is awful. It looks horrible. But Three Finger looks surprisingly good. So they kill him, and then they take him to the prison where Billy gets patched up by the doctor, and they're all in the prison cell, and they're all worrying, what am I going to do? I can't screw this up. You know, I can't lose my scholarship or anything like that. So Billy's like, you know what? I'll take the blame for it, because his dad's loaded. So he's like, okay, you know what? I'll take care of it. You know, my dad will probably take care of me, so I'll do it. So he's like, look, officer, it was my pot. So she lets all of them go. They stay at the motel. Well, Cruz, who is his girlfriend, freaking decides, I'm going to go get him some food. While she's taking food to him, she runs into Three Finger, but he's wearing a mask. And he chases her around until she runs into a blade. And when she was doing this, because I'm in an acting class, and so this reminded me of like a funny skit my friend and I did. I was chasing him with a big sword, and then I stopped, and I was like, wait a minute, and I held the sword out. She was running around, running away from him in circles, and he just got in front of her, and she ran into the blade. Like, it wasn't like horrible, like, you know, he got in front of her in the last second she ran into it. So then this is probably the most disturbing thing about this film. With the fourth one and how they ate Daniel alive and used his body as freaking fondue, in this one, Three Finger cuts open her stomach and pulls out her intestines and actually puts her intestines in her mouth. Just watching this made me actually want to throw up. This, I would honestly have to say, is kind of more disturbing than what they did to Daniel. And I know what they did to him was some pretty messed up stuff. But this, she was still alive also, but he was pulling her intestines out and putting them down her throat. And then she eventually dies. So, after that, Julian's like, alright, look, I'm gonna go hang out with him. I'm gonna go hang out with Billy. While this is happening, though, Maynard, who is in the cell, is like, my boys are coming for you. They're gonna kill you. And, you know, during this whole time, he's in the cell, and he's like, look, if you let me go, my boys will let you go. I won't kill you. I promise. You have my word. And so then the power goes out because another police officer gets kidnapped. And, no, I think this is how they killed Mike. I thought they stabbed him in the head to kill him, but I don't think they did. They strung him up, and this is how they took the power out. They actually lifted him up. Instead of like barbed wire, it was just regular rope, and they pulled him to the power lines, and because of that, that's why the power went out. Now, there's another reason why there's a cop there was another cop, and this was Mike. Never mind. The one that got killed, I think, was Teddy. I think. He is banging some fake boobied chick so she'll get backstage. And, you know, he takes his walkie-talkie and puts it on the car, and you see them have sex. It was weird. Somewhat. I don't know. But yeah, those two are never mentioned again. So like through this whole entire time, the cannibals are picking off people one by one. Julian goes down the street, and okay, never mind. Julian's going to the prison. While he's going to the prison, some kids throw a water balloon at him, and this is when Gus and Lita are having sex. They're having sex, and she's leaving for New York, but he doesn't want her to. He proposes to her, and so she goes to take a shower. And this kind of made me think of a little bit of Freddy vs. Jason, because after the couple gets done having sex, the girl goes and takes a shower, and the boyfriend dies. So in this one, I think it was One Eye comes to the door first. He's like, dude, go away. Closes the door, and he's like, that was some good makeup, though. And then Sawtooth comes in and is like, what are you, freaking retarded? And that's when they knock him out. And next thing you know, he is freaking strung up. They have him tied in the back of the truck, like the body of the truck. And they have him laid out, and they stretch his legs, and they hit his legs with sledgehammers. And I'm honestly thinking that this is a little bit unbelievable, because I'm honestly thinking if you have enough raw power to slam a sledgehammer down pretty hard, I'm pretty sure it would go through a person's leg. I'm pretty sure. Either that or I'm wrong, and this is just unjustified. But so like they hit his legs a bunch of times until his legs are broken, and his feet. So then they throw him out on the street. That rhymed. And they're basically trying to lure Lita out there or anyone out there. She gets attacked by a cannibal, but she gets away. She runs to the jail cell, and then she tells about what's going on. And then that's when a bunch of stuff goes downhill. And then Maynard's like, I told you, my boys are coming to get me. They're going to kill all of you one by one. So then, you know, they're all standing in the prison cell. And then the sheriff's husband comes in, and his name's Jason. He has like a 2-part cameo, I guess. He's bringing her dinner and everything, and so he's like, you know what, I'll go make some sandwiches for your other deputies. And we don't see him in the movie again until later on. And you know, Maynard keeps saying, the Last Supper, you're never coming back. And there's another person, I forget what his name is, but he was a drunk in the prison cell. Mose. He was in the prison cell. He was sober, and he's like, look, Sheriff, I want to help you. I can't help you. So she allows him to. And he goes out and gets a truck. And while he's driving the truck, he notices the barbed wire. This is the only time barbed wire is actually used in this movie. The only time barbed wire is ever used in this dang movie. Okay. So he runs over the barbed wire, and he gets put in a trash can, like one of those plastic trash cans, and he gets set over a fire, and he burns to death. And then Julian... I can't remember what does happen to Julian. Julian dies somehow. They all die. I know that this is horrible. I just watched the movie. But like I said, this one was the worst one out of the series. And sometimes it was hard to watch. I was playing Doom when I was watching it, and maybe I missed his death. So then basically with Julian gone, it's just Sheriff Angela and Lita. And Maynard's like, look, Lita, you're a smart girl. You don't want to die, right? You don't want to die. And she's like, why should I believe you? Your boys killed my boyfriend. And she keeps saying to Angela, why don't we just give them what he wants? She's like, and you actually believe that? You believe that he's going to let you go? She's like, what do you want from him? She's like, I want justice. And Lita's like, I want justice for my boyfriend. And then Angela's like, you're not going to get justice for him if you let him out. So while she goes and investigates, she finds a parked car, and she opens it, and the cannibals kidnapped her husband. And I thought this was a pretty sick trap. They set up the seatbelt or something to where when she opens the door, a hook actually is set on the bottom of her husband's stomach, and the more she opens the door, the further the scythe or whatever, or the hook that's in him, goes up and cuts his body open, and his intestine starts to fall out. And so I was like, okay, so you're telling me that by putting your intestines back in your husband's body, you think that that's going to bring him back to life? Because this is all she's trying to do. So like, no, 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 no. And I just totally realized that I forgot about Billy. I cannot remember what happens to Billy. My gosh. That's how forgettable this movie is. I'm sorry. That's how forgettable this is. And so then she's on her way back. And so Lita gives in to Maynard's demands. She lets him out, and he's like, you have a bright vision. You have good vision. And he's like, remember what I said about vision? He plucks her eyes out. And so then Maynard's like, you know what? I'm gonna screw you. My boys are gonna screw you, and then I'm gonna kill you. I'll maybe leave you alive for a couple of days so I can enjoy it. And he's basically, taunting her and scaring her, and she's already terrified. So then, they don't show this, but Angela puts Maynard back in the cell. And the cannibals are on their way. And then all of a sudden, it shows her walking around at night. And then all of a sudden, it just cuts to Angela being tied up in a jail cell. How in the world did he get out? What the heck happened? She locked him up. How did he get out? They don't ever show how he got out. But all I know is she's in a jail cell, and she's tied up like this. And this was actually a pretty cool thing to Saw. He puts her in the Saw-like trap where, like in Saw 4 when we learned about how Hoffman met Jigsaw, and he was in the trap like with the shotgun, and if he put his foot down or something, the string would pull the trigger. That's what this was. And they were burning, and he's like, you're either going to burn to death or you can set yourself free. He has, first of all, he just has the shotgun taped to where it'll blow her head off. And she could have easily got out, but then he tapes her mouth, and then he tapes more tape around the shotgun to make sure she can't get out. And then he also tapes duct tape around her body. So when they leave, she's, crying, and there's nothing she can do, and she decides to let the shotgun kill her. So she blows her brains out, and then when that happens, Maynard turns back and notices that she did it. So then we see the last survivor, Lita, and she's walking around blind, and she's like, stop, stop. I was like, it's them. It's them. It's them. Oh, what a shock. Nobody survives. So, and Three Fingers the one who gets her, and as soon as she gets in the truck, she's like, thank you, and he's like, welcome home, Lita. And then she cries, and then the movie ends. This one is like I've said for the third time, this one is really the worst out of the series. It does somewhat make sense, but at the same time it doesn't, because in the first one, Maynard's younger in this one, and they are making a Wrong Turn 6. So whenever it comes out on Netflix or something, I will probably review it. It probably won't get made this Halloween. I might be able to get it out sometime later. But yeah, guys, that was the Wrong Turn series. Please put in the comments below, what was your favorite Wrong Turn movie and why? What was your least favorite Wrong Turn movie and why? Guys, stay tuned for when I will be doing my review of the Scream series. What's your favorite scary movie? Bye, guys.